Yes, good morning. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Ralph.
Good morning, Kasia.
So the secret is revealed. Today in our meeting about Varroaresistenz Poland, we have a special guest, Dr. Ralph Büchler, if I pronounce it correctly in German.
Perfect. Thank you.
Dr. Ralph Buchler is a great researcher of biotechnical methods, and he's concentrating on Varroa-resistant bees. He's working in University of Kirchhain. That's very short, but he's also the author of the book that is behind me here on the screen. We are working on translation into Polish, and Ralph decided to give us something like half an hour of his time to make a short interview. So we worked on the interesting questions for Ralph. We prepared it together with our team of Varroaresistenz Poland, so both us and Professor Strachecka and Krzysztof Olszewski. So we are ready to start. Ralph, are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Please start.
We are very happy that we could join the team of Varroaresistenz 2033. We heard about it sometime last year, and we decided to join because we felt that this is the direction that actually beekeeping should go, back to nature and more natural. And we also learned that parallel, there is this movement in Germany that is getting international. So we thought it would be very beneficial to work all together, because there is only benefit to work all together. And this is also all about this, that the more people practice it, the better.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, the name of the group is Varroaresistenz 2033. Mm-hmm. So this is 10 years time from last year. And why is it 10 years? Is it really 10 years? Why is it 10 years to reach the goal? The goal is to receive Varroa-resistant bees. Is there any special reason behind it, or is it based on any specific research?
Probably it's mainly for sociological reasons, let me say. I mean, there's on one side the technical aspects. How can we select for resistance? How much progress did we already achieve in having more resistant bees? And there's very positive signals. So we made huge progress during the last few years. And at the same time, it's very much about how to manage colonies, and those things have to be brought together. So from the technical point of view, I'm absolutely sure that the goal is realistic and we can achieve resistance on a large scale within the next 10 years. But the main challenge probably is to involve all the beekeepers and to initiate the discussion and to spread the optimism that we can change traditional manners of beekeeping. And there's a lot to learn until we reach this point. And at the end, what we want to have is that the whole bee population shows some resistance. So we have to spread the important genes among the wide population to be sure that even with open mating of queens, which is more than 90% of the queens we are using in Germany are open mated queens. And we have to be sure that all those queens get the important resistant traits from the open mating process. And that will take some time. So I'm not absolutely sure that it's 10 years. It could be done within 10 years. And if it's at the end 12 or 15 years, then it's also fine. But we thought it's a good idea to have this time point ahead of us and to know, well, we want to see in 10 years' time what happened till then.
So we speed up and we are concentrated on it. But you mentioned that the goal is also to spread the news, to make it optimistic. And I have to say that this is exactly what we see in Poland. We are really proud of it because the biotechnical methods and the brood break methods were already known for many years. It was already mentioned in Poland in 1980s by Professor Bobrzecki, or also Dr. Małgorzata Bieńkowska is also working on these methods. However, they were not spread out. They were kept in the science, but this is all about making beekeepers working with them on a large scale. So
Right.
I think this is the energy that is going now toward.
Yeah.
So it was just my sentence.
Yeah. But it's very similar development in Germany. I mean, the trapping technique, for example, was theoretically developed and scientifically tested already in the mid of the 80s.
Exactly.
So till that time, we have some beekeeper who always treated just with such methods and who didn't lose any colonies. So we see the positive effect, but it's still not well recognized in the wider beekeeping community. And this is
good news is that it's getting there.
Yeah.
About the selection, now if we select just for Varroa resistance, is there any risk that we can upset the balance, that maybe the bees will not be resistant for other diseases? So if there is not disrupt in other resistance parameters?
No, I think it's just the opposite. So Varroa resistance mainly works by the ability of bees to detect diseased brood cells. So nurse bees, some of them can notice that there's something going wrong inside the sealed brood cell. And then they start to open the cell and to remove the brood or to open and recap the brood. And these are the most important traits to achieve resistance against Varroa. But at the same time, this is exactly what has to happen when there is foul brood, or maybe in future when we get Tropilelaps. It will be just the same story. Tropilelaps goes inside the brood, disturbs the developing pupae, and bees have to detect this and have to open and to remove such diseased brood cells. So I think what we do with the selection for Varroa resistance is a general health program to improve the resistance of our bees towards any kind of brood disease.
Can we determine how stable the acquired traits will be? I mean that, let's say in first or second generation, the bees are resistant, but let's say the following third, fourth generation, it comes back like a boomerang. So is there any measure whether the traits are stable or not?
You see, there is no absolute resistance. And this is what we learned already from Varroa-resistant populations throughout the world. It's not everywhere exactly the same, but bees are always in kind of adaptation to the local challenges. It depends on the climate. It depends on the whole set of diseases and parasites present. It depends also very much on the way how beekeepers manage their hives. So there will always be this kind of natural adaptation of bees to the given circumstances. And what all of us notice at the moment is there's a lot of change. I mean, take the climatic change, which we experience right now. And with the climatic change, we will have a change in the pollen and nectar flow and the brood seasonality. And bees, to be fit and vital, have to adapt to such things. And they can do. I mean, the genetic and the open mating process is a perfect system to have this continuous adaptation. So when it comes to the Varroa resistance, once we achieve populations which we can keep without chemical treatments, we will have a continuous adaptation to this fluctuating environmental conditions, as long as we don't use chemical treatment. Yeah. And the colonies which do better under such conditions will dominate with their drones in the open mating process. So all the beekeepers profit from this natural-like beekeeping systems. Yeah. So no absolute resistance, and we will lose the resistance very soon at the moment where we start to treat with chemicals again. I mean, we see the same in the field of agriculture. At the moment where there is an intensive use of pesticides, you select susceptible crops, and you get new problems with diseases. So we have to be aware of this interaction.
That was exactly my next question about the chemicals. Why it is so important to stop using the hard chemicals?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. What we see at the moment is the main effect of these hard chemicals against Varroa is that we give even the most susceptible colonies a good chance to reproduce in the next season. So with this effective winter treatment, we take out the mites, which would otherwise prohibit that susceptible colonies have a chance to produce vital drones, which have the option to mate a queen in the open mating process. And nature has foreseen this, the drone population as a natural filter. So it's only the strong and healthy colonies which can contribute drones which get a real chance in the mating competition in open mating process. So, and with these chemical treatments, we undermine this natural way of selection of honeybees. And this is what we have to change. And therefore, that we kit with chemical treatments and that we come to a more natural-like colony management as we can achieve it with this natural brood interruption is a crucial point.
To make it also in a large scale.
Yes, exactly. You see, we have a few breeders in the narrow sense who really test colonies, write down all the measurements, run breeding value estimation, and this way can select certain traits which are responsible for resistance. So they do an extremely important job for the whole beekeeping community, but it's a minority. It's less than 1% of the beekeepers who can do this. And the other 99% of the beekeepers, they depend on the influx of well-selected stock from the breeders on one side, but then they come, and at the end, the way how they manage their bees decides about the spread of the selected genes in the wider population. So it goes hand in hand. We need this selective breeding, but then we need well-adapted management concepts in the hands of all the beekeepers.
Exactly, not to ruin the result of the selective breeding. Because
exactly, and to support the spread of the more resistant stock.
Yeah. Okay. Is it possible to achieve completely resistant bees if hypothetically all beekeepers start using the biotechnical methods, chemical-free methods?
You see, I don't like this term absolute resistance in the sense what we discussed before. It's always relative resistance. A resistant population of bees can survive without treatment under the given circumstances. And the way how beekeepers manage their colonies is one important aspect among these environmental conditions for the bees. So in that sense, we should speak about relative resistance. And there, yes, I'm absolutely sure if all the beekeepers adapt their management system, we will get a wide population with a high degree of resistance, where we don't need to use any chemicals.
That's the aim. Now, Ralph, do you see, or what difficulties do you see that beekeepers may encounter during using the biotechnical methods, from your point of view?
Yeah, first of all, the main challenge right now is to motivate people to spread the idea, the hope, yes, we could do different compared to what we did the last few decades. So this is the main challenge, really, to motivate people to start trying. And what I suggest is not to switch with the whole number of colony one beekeeper has at one moment. It's not black white. There's something you have to learn. So come in use with more natural-like adapted management of colonies, and start with some of your colonies, and then step by step learn the technical challenges to handle. Those things are not really complicated, and at the end every beekeeper is capable to do, but some experience is useful, and this is what we described in our book, which you already mentioned, the summer brood interruption for orbital honeybee colonies. There we try to give step-by-step explanations how to run total brood removal or trapping comb techniques, or what to regard when you cage the queen for a few weeks to achieve brood-free colonies somewhere in the middle of the season, which you can use then for one-time chemical treatment. So these available techniques are described there, and it's easy to learn if you have a good presentation, and if you try to do it with a few hives. Each of those available techniques have advantages and disadvantages, and the beekeeper himself at the end has to check out which is the most appropriate method under my conditions. So a commercial beekeeper with 500 or with 1,000 colonies has other concerns than hobby beekeeper with 10 or 30 colonies. So the question of how much time is needed to run certain methods is one aspect. And another aspect is, are you capable to easily find the queen within the hive? Or are you careful and say, well, I'm not so sure if I can find her? So this already decides on your options. If you can easily find the queen, then it's no problem to cage her or to put her on a trapping comb. If you can't find her, then it's easier to just take out the brood without any bees, without the queen. So you be sure the queen remains in the hive without brood, and with the trapping comb, then you can easily catch the mites. Things like this. So there are some technical aspects which have to be regarded, but all of them are easy to learn, and there is in the whole spectrum of potential methods, for sure, for each of your beekeepers, one way which works very well. So please, beekeepers, start, find out, read about those methods, go to YouTube, check the videos. There's so much stuff in the meantime which explains how to do it. And then you will easily find out which is best under your conditions. And
yes, the
after
motivation.
2 years, when you see the success, when you get the feeling, well, this colony is really healthy now and in a good condition without the use of chemicals, then you will be so happy. And then it's a self-running system. So,
yes, and be persistent.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ralph, what effects do you already see after the 2 years of establishing Varroaresistenz 2033?
What I see is the discussion really started. So
Yes.
there is a great interaction between...
An international discussion, I have to add.
Even on an international level, yeah. But at the moment, I mainly see the national situation. And you see, we have so many beekeeper association clubs, different breeder groups, and so on. And before, there was not too much exchange between those groups. And now the association see this big goal as the common goal, and they have a stronger interaction, and people start to discuss among each other, and that stimulates a lot. And from all these discussions, more and more beekeepers get aware that there are realistic alternatives. You see, the breeders have done an impressive job in the last 10 years. So we have highly resistant lines within Carnica from this long-term activity of Arbeitsgemeinschaft Toleranzzucht. It's a very big breeder association with several hundred active breeders in Germany, focusing on resistant traits since about 20 years. So there's huge progress. And in the meantime, also the Buchler breeders started and run selective breeding for Varroaresistenz, and they see good success in some of their lines. So this work is already done, but the wider bee community often did not even recognize what those breeders are doing. And now with the discussions around Varroa 2033, many more beekeepers get aware, well, there is something going on and maybe it's useful for myself, and they got more interested. And there is a higher awareness and a higher appreciation for the work of the breeders, of the institutes, of the bee advisors who can help to organize this move. So a lot more activity in that sense, and the process is started, is going on, and yeah, we will see.
Let's count. It's like a snowball that it will get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what I hope. So we were too satisfied with this boring situation that we use 2-3 times per season chemical treatments, and at the end still lose 15% of all our colonies on average every year, which is not acceptable from my point of view. And now with more resistant stock and a better natural-like colony management, we may have 5% colony losses, and the colonies are stronger. And professional beekeepers notice that they get more honey from those colonies which haven't seen chemicals since years. So this is absolutely
no other way, seemingly.
Stimulating, yeah.
Okay, Ralph. Is there anything that you would like to say just from yourself to beekeepers? What do you think is the most important to highlight apart from what you already mentioned to us?
I think we touched all the important points, and let me say it from my personal experience. I mean, I had the luck to lead this Central Bee Institute in Germany, in Kirchhain, for 30 years. And last year I retired, and now I have more time for my private beekeeping. I'm a breeder myself. I run about 25 colonies, and I did my last chemical treatment in 2016. So it's getting nearly 10 years now that I work without chemicals. And I have long time experience. And what I see, my colonies now are doing better. They are really vital and healthy. And it's such a fun if you open your colonies in spring. You know, they were not treated against Varroa, just well managed. And you see how strong they are and how well they do. So this is the biggest luck beekeepers can experience. Nature gives the answer on all those challenges. And I'm pretty sure when we look into the future, we will get tropilelaps. We will get problems with Vespa valentina. We have these climatic challenges. So there are really serious challenges ahead. But I'm absolutely sure bees are capable to survive with all this if we really understand how nature works and which strengths of adaptation is in the nature of bees if we work in the right way. So this is a pleasure after decades of bee research and being an active beekeeper to see that at the end it's all in the nature of bees, and we have to better understand the bees and the nature, and then it's so satisfying. So big luck. I'm really grateful that we got Varroa. We have learned so much from Varroa.
Oh,
And we got much better beekeepers, and yeah, we have a golden future if we better learn to work with the nature instead
yes,
of.
we are also happy to see a lot of beekeepers that are very interested in this. They want to learn, they want to expand their knowledge. So this is a very positive direction, and
Yeah.
we also hope for this. So this
Yeah,
is
and we
all
can do
about,
it together, and
yeah.
this is also a great experience.
Exactly. We are so happy that we met in January. We thought it would be just a meeting, but then the whole energy just exploded, and we said, yeah, this is the way we want to promote, and this is really fascinating and really rewarding that many people call and ask, and they want to join, they want to practice. So it's the motivation, I think, is growing there.
That's perfect. And in this sense, we will have a next big meeting about this subject in 1st to 3rd of November in Hofgeismar, which is close to Kassel, right in the center of Germany. And everybody who is interested, you're invited to join. And I appreciate very much our international cooperation. And
Yes, we already spoke with a few organization and a few breeders as well in Poland.
yeah.
So I think there will be a Polish participation in the meeting too. But
That's great.
it's still to be planned. But in the meantime, we also think about the meeting that shall be sometime October, that you are also invited, but we will be telling more about it in the proper time.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thank
And
you, Ralph.
really great if we can help each other. We can
Yes.
learn so much from each other, especially Poland and Germany are traditionally
Exactly.
beekeeping countries, and
Yes.
and we should closely cooperate.
And we will. Thank you
Okay,
for
great.
your time. And now we are putting everything into Polish, and we are happy for the interview.
Yeah, thank you very much for your
Thanks a
interest.
lot. Yeah,
Nice
bye.
cooperation. Bye bye.